Hi friends, it's Julia. Thanks for stopping by my channel today for Christmas in July day number 18. You can see I'm working on a card here that I have already made the embellishment piece on. I had taken a My Favorite Things quilters die, and it's one that Christy Marcotte uses on occasion, and so I bought the same die on her recommendation, and so here I am, I'm using it here. It is bigger than what will fit effectively on a 4¼ by 5½ card, so I went one size up. And I'm using some pre-made card bases that I have from Hobby Lobby. They are 8½, sorry, 5 by 6½. And so I've used some cardstock in the background to mat on top of that. So it's going to look like it's triple layered. It's going to be white for the card base, red for the background, white again, and then the embellishment piece on top of that. Here I'm taking, as part of the cut apart sheet, it had that little line of Christmas sentiments and Christmas words. And so I didn't cut any of them apart. I just left it in a strip. And I'm going to use that along the front piece, the front part of the card as well. So that piece from My Favorite Things, the die from My Favorite Things, I just used tons of scraps that I had laying over to the side and cut out tons of stuff for the front of this card, or for the front of this quilted piece. It's not in any way to look like it's professionally done or anything, like a real quilt. I mean, it's just using up scraps. And I'm okay with that. It doesn't have to look uber perfect. Here along the back side of the die, you can see, or the die piece, I used paper tape. In the medical field, we have 3 types of tape. We have plastic tape, which is the clear stuff. We have silk tape, which is made quite literally out of silk fibers, or in the olden days it was. It's more material than it is paper. And then we have what's termed paper tape. And so that's what I'm using here on the back side of that. And I just put it across there and used it to glue my pattern pieces down to. Will it hold up long term? I don't know. Is it paper friendly? I don't know. I figure most of my cards will end up in the trash, and that's okay. I'm okay with that. It's not going to hurt my feelings. If someone doesn't want to keep it, I'm okay with that. You do with it what you want to do. My joy comes from creating it and giving it to you. So it's not in what you do with it. And I'm not going to hold it against you if you throw it away. Anywho, so on the back of that, rather than just lay it flat onto the cardstock, I put it up on a foam sheet. I cut it down to go back behind there only because I felt like as a quilted piece, I wanted it to have a little extra dimension. And so that's what I did. Nothing fancy there, no rocket science. So I'm taking this little strip of words and I'm going to put it along the bottom. I'm just measuring it out there on my card mat to make sure that I get an even placement of it. And then I'll trim it up. The other thing that I do is I bring in some pre-made embellishments. I have some glittered foam Christmas trees. I bring one of those in, and then I bring in one of those little pre-made sentiments from Hobby Lobby. I had bought it for card making several years ago and then didn't use it up, and so I have a lot of them left, and well, I have a few of them left because I've been plugging along using them up over the course of the last several years. So I put that down. I'm going to put the Christmas tree in just a minute in the center of the quilt. And I really like how that looks. Once I put it on the card topper onto the card base, you'll see. I think this card turns out really pretty. Even if it's not a matchy-matchy design on the quilt pattern, I'm okay with that. You know, I can't ever remember a quilt that my grandmother or my husband's grandparents made that was matchy-matchy. They were all quite literally rag quilts, if you will, made out of scraps of fabric, left over from other projects. So my grandmother made each of her granddaughters a quilt, and I can look at those quilts and see bits and pieces of our baby clothes and different outfits that my grandmother made over the years, either for herself or for my auntie or my cousins. So those are always fun. And that's what this card reminds me of. Some of my favorite pattern papers from this paper stack are in that little mini quilt. So here I just stamped out my sentiment there, and you can see my pile of scraps. It looks like it's grown, but it really hasn't. It's actually gotten smaller. And I'm taking the other piece of the word strip from the cut aparts, and I'm just going to cut it down, and rather than use that on the inside of the card, or rather than use a different paper scrap on the inside of the card, I'm going to use that. It matches the front and it gives it a really fun feel. The other thing is I'm going to stamp the envelope here in just a minute. I like to stamp the front of my envelopes so that it gives it a fun feel. So when you get that card in the mail with that cute little sentiment on, or the cute little image on it or whatever, you know it's something fun coming for you. And I think that turned out so pretty. I really like this card. And I think because it's got some of my favorite pattern papers in that quilting piece, and it reminds me of my grandmother. This one, I think, oh, rather than stamp it, I'm going to use a piece of washi tape. Like I did yesterday, I used washi tape on the front of the envelopes. And like I said before, this is something you can do. Just make sure it's pressed into and sticks well. You need a very sticky washi tape that is stuck very well to the card base in order for it to go through the post office. And so that's all I'm doing here. I'll trim it up here in just a second, but you're going to see me take my bone folder and get after that and really mash it into that paper. Anyway, I appreciate you guys stopping by, and I hope that I have inspired you to get into your stash and create something. Are you making Christmas cards this year? And have you started the process already, or do you wait till December in order to get yours done? It's a fun process no matter when you do it, you know, especially if you make a couple at a time. For me, it makes it go faster, and it's so much funner to get at least 2 at a time made. This is one of those days, the only day I think that I made just one, but yeah, that's okay with me. It all works out in the end as long as I have Christmas cards to send, right? Okay, thanks for stopping by, everyone, and I'll see you tomorrow on the next video. Have a great day.